All right, good morning, everybody. Feel a little under the weather today. Allergies are it's pretty strong. We had a beautiful yontiv in White Lake. First time we had minions since Purim. We were outdoors in the tent, social distancing. Everybody wearing masks. A lot of us wearing gloves. I can't say how extremely uncomfortable it is to daven, and I led the whole service from beginning to end. I laned, I took the Haftarah, I did everything, and it's extremely, extremely uncomfortable to do that with a mask on, and it's also I don't know how healthy it is, to be honest. Aber so is this. We have to do it, and especially the Rav, he wasn't there with us in the tent, but he was up on his deck participating. He gave a little drasha before Yizkor, and it was a gewaltige thing to daven the minyan again, but it was physically very taxing. But especially we're trying very much to daven as quickly as possible to limit the amount of time we're spending together, and because it's also a social distancing issue. So we tried to keep the whole minyan time to about an hour. Maybe we went 5 minutes over or something, but we managed to do what we had to do. Everybody had their aliyahs from wherever they were standing, from their seat. And as always, gewein. Anyway, we found out after Yontiv, here we are, socially distant from the world. No, we're not watching the news, not listening to the news. We don't know what's going on in the cities, and we're in a rural area, thank God, away from the big cities, and everything's falling apart. Now, somewhat before, what do we have to worry about here in the country? Too many deer. A lot of deer out on the street today. But and before Yontiv, I was listening to everybody, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, all the conservative commentators were all, as far as the issue of peaceful protesting, on the side of the protesters, agreeing that this was a horrible, not only a tragedy, but a crime that this police officer committed. And their condolences to the family, and an agreement that this man did not deserve to die, which I think everybody can agree, for allegedly passing a $20 bill counterfeit. Nobody deserves to die for that. Notwithstanding the idea of Pachas Mishuvah Pruta, that's for Bezdin, and that's according to a lot of the Shoinim, it doesn't mean that it's a chiyuv. It means that it's ad v'chlal, but it's not a requirement. Rambam understands it seems as a requirement. Anyway, what is this? A bunch of garbage bags all on each side of the road. It looks like it's on purpose. I don't know what this is all about. Tatay footed. Anyway, this whole Maisa, it's a horrible thing, this whole story. And this man did not deserve to die, and it's a tremendous injustice. What happened to, what's his name, George Floyd, or Floyd George, I don't remember. Anyway, that doesn't excuse rioting, that doesn't excuse violations of the law, doesn't excuse this violent reaction. Peaceful protest is a good thing. And that's the proper way to react to this, but the violence, I don't understand where the justification is for the violence. I don't understand what one thing has to do with another. Meaning, like, there was one guy in the video, he said because of Mr. Floyd, you're going to loot the Gucci store. What does one thing have to do with another? I understand there's some disagreement as to how exactly this man died, but even if he had a heart attack while in custody like this, it seems that the trauma of the situation exacerbated it. So even if he did not die of strangulation but of a heart attack, it seems that things were a little bit too rough there. Although I understand he was resisting arrest, but still, things have to be done in the right way. And this is a horrible thing, but these things happen often. Unfortunately, too often. And not just a white cop and a black person who's I'm not going to call him even a criminal, a person in custody. We don't know what happened. Alleged criminal, perhaps. Similar stories happened otherwise. With the person dying being white, it really shouldn't matter the color of a person's skin. This is a horrible tragedy, no matter what. And but I don't really believe that these things are really connected. Meaning, it's astroturfing. This is too convenient for all of this. I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's too convenient for all of these things to be all together at once. It seems like this was planned, and we got to make sure that the people who planned this don't win. I mean, it's a horrible thing. But what does one thing have to do with the other? You see, people know I'm not a fan of the state of Israel, but you see what's going on. First of all, this took place in a blue state, in a blue city, Democrat mayor. I wouldn't be surprised if the cop, if he's not a Democrat, he almost certainly hates President Trump. I mean, there's some reports these some kind of white supremacists. The white supremacists are the Democrat Party. The KKK, if you learn the history, it comes from the Democrat Party. The Republicans freed the slaves. And people say, oh, they changed. The party's never changed. That's a Baba Maisa. And the chutzpah of the Democrats is the equivalent of like if after World War II the Nazi Party said, not only are we going to still call ourselves Nazis, but we are going to say that the people who opposed us, they're the real racists. That's what the Democrats did. But the Democrats never changed. They're still obsessed with controlling other people. That's slavery. That's what big government. And they're still obsessed with identity politics, as opposed to the Republicans who care about the individual and the rugged individualism. The Democrats, it's all about the demographics. Anyway, this is where we're finding ourselves. So that's a story that we're dealing with. And Baruch Shalom should have Rachmanis on us and send Mashiach very soon. It's interesting. I remember someone once said, please don't say that, like so many of our Rebbeim said in high school, if, if not for the sports, the certain elements of the world, not talking about a color of the skin, but the certain elements of the world, they'd be killing Jews. And maybe it hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it's scary. This is what I was going to say though about this. What is this whole story about? Is this the way we go, or about? Oh no, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Why? I'm not pro-Israel. What is this? Why do they say? Why are they attacking synagogues and saying that it's free Palestine, this and that? What does that have to do with what happened? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't understand. Free Palestine. What does that have to do with this? It shows that and who knows who's behind these masks? These aren't African American people who are doing this. These are, white leftists who are just trying to destroy America. If I was Donald Trump, I would call George Floyd's family to the White House and cry with them and mourn with them. But what is the? But the media is not going to let that happen. The leftists are not going to let that happen, and that's a shame. And the number one thing we have to do is not blame. Just like we can't blame all white people for this stupid cop, whatever he did, whether it was intentional to kill him or not, he definitely was too rough. We also can't blame all black people for the Black Lives Matter movement and so forth. The issue is not the color of the skin, the issue is the ideology, leftist ideology that's destroying this country. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.